The great city of Chicago, Illinois, headquarters for the Big Ten Conference, the Big Ten Network, and for the next 5 hours, Big Ten Football Media Day inside the Hilton at Chicago, one day before the 42nd football kickoff luncheon. We'll be here for the next 5 hours and glad to have you with us. Mike Hall alongside Derek Rackley. You can send us tweets throughout the next 5 hours at DRack48, at BTN Mike Hall, or at Big Ten Network. You're going to hear from all 12 of the Big Ten head football coaches in the course of the next 5 hours, starting with Pat Fitzgerald in moments. Of all 12 coaches, who do you most want to hear from?
Urban Meyer and the Ohio State Buckeyes, of course, coming off an outstanding undefeated season last year, a ton of momentum going into 2013, but Urban Meyer's also got some things that he's going to have to address outside of the football field. Curious to see what type of questions and how in-depth he goes.
Of course, you know he'll be getting asked questions about Carlos Hyde, the man who is going to be one of the most important parts of that Ohio State offense, and he is now currently suspended from the Ohio State Buckeyes pending the results of an investigation. You can see Urban at 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central Time. He will still be our 9th person to go. There will be 3 after him. But again, our first coach up is Pat Fitzgerald. The Wildcats off a 10-win season and a bowl game victory. Out to the Hilton we go for Fitz.
Total starters in 2013. Coach, you make an opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Obviously, we've digressed this year with you. We missed Julie already. So good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you. Obviously, would like to thank everyone for your support of Big Ten football, and Northwestern is a football program. It's football season, and here we go again. I'd be remiss without starting my remarks on behalf of the Northwestern football family of expressing our thoughts and prayers and condolences to Adam Rittenberg and his family in this very challenging and difficult time. We're thinking about you, Adam, and your family, and hope to be there with you. I'd also like to welcome our 2 new coaches, and Daryl Hazel to Purdue and Gary Anderson to Wisconsin. Looking forward to competing against their teams. I've gotten to know the gentlemen since obviously in recruiting season. And now throughout our meetings throughout the spring and summer, and would like to welcome them on behalf of our coaches. Obviously, it's a great time of the year. I don't know if you guys or anyone is charting how many times a coach up here says excited, but I think across the country, every coach is really in anticipation for 2 weeks from now when we get together with our teams and really start to work hard on progressing and building off of what we accomplished in the spring, and then obviously what our young men have been able to do throughout the summer. An exciting time in our program's history to be off the heels of our longest bowl streak in modern time of one bowl successful season, and to have the number of young men that we have coming back in 15 from a starting standpoint gives us great confidence that we'll hopefully be able to take the next step. We've got 12 terrific seniors that are embarking on their last season, 3 of which are with us here today and throughout the media days. And Kane Coulter, our great quarterback, Venrick Mark, our tailback, and Tyler Scott, our defensive end. We've got a very difficult schedule, having to go on the road to open up against a very talented Cal team. Coach Dykes did a terrific job at La Tech, and then come back and play a conference championship team in Syracuse is going to be a challenge. But as we rewind, very proud of the success that we've had, 5 straight bowl seasons. But as I said, as I put the Gator Bowl trophy up above my head, we're just getting started at Northwestern. We've got a lot of work to do, and talk is talk, and now it's about time for action. And looking forward to getting back with our guys here in a few weeks. So with that, how about some questions?
Again, raise your hand if you have a question. We'll get a mic over to you. So at this time, we are open for questions. We'll start right here with Teddy.
Hey Fitz, not the most serious one here, but how is your hip? I know you had some surgery. How's it going? And pretty sure it won't affect your coaching this year?
Well, thanks, Teddy, for asking about my health. I was cleared about 2 weeks ago. I'll be full go for camp. Questionable as an athlete, but ready to go.
We'll stay over there.
Coach, you talked about the difficult schedule. You guys start with 3 opponents, all breaking in new head coaches. How does that kind of adjust how you guys prepare for them in the summer?
Well, our schedule, there's no question, we're not afraid to play anyone. You know, we went into the season last year playing 3 BCS teams in the non-conference and thought had great success. You know, originally on our schedule, we had 3 BCS teams this year. Obviously, that changed, and now we're playing 2 BCS teams to begin. anytime there's coaching changes, it's a challenge on our staff. And that's probably what I'm most proud of as you look back over the last couple of years. Our staff has done a terrific job, especially in our non-conference games, preparing in a little bit of an abstract way. We've had to go look at different teams when coaches have been at different institutions, maybe even looking at NFL tape if that's where the coordinator came from. And our staff has done a terrific job. And I think our blueprint for that success speaks for itself with having success in the opener. So it's going to be a great challenge, especially going out and playing at Cal, kicking off at 7:30 local, which will be 9:30 on our bodies. We'll adjust our practice plan accordingly that week. We've already kind of looked at the roadmap, and you hear me say a lot, the blueprint of what we're going to do, and there'll be definite tweaks and adjustments to our preparation. But at the end of the day, it's how we prepare and what we do to determine whether or not we'll be prepared for that game.
Hi, Coach. I know there are some issues with the health of the offensive linemen this spring. How's that group coming along, and is everybody getting healthy up front?
Yeah, the entire offensive line is healthy coming out of spring and going into Camp Kenosha. There'll be great competition in that room. We believe that group is as talented as we've had. A year ago, we brought back 3 starters, and we had 2 new faces to break in. And to see the way that Jack Konopka played a year ago is the first time ever playing offensive line in his entire football career. We look forward to moving him over potentially to the left tackle position and solidifying that spot left by Patrick Ward, who was an academic All-American. And Brandon Vitale is arguably one of the most talented centers, not only in this conference, but also in the country. So great confidence in those 2 guys, and then going to be terrific competition at the right tackle, right guard, and left guard position, but we feel like there's great talent there, and looking forward to watching that unfold.
Come back over here to Teddy. Raise your hands high so that we can see, and we'll get a mic over to you.
Fitz, one of the topics that I think a lot of coaches will be asked about this year is about disciplining players, having guys who stay straight and narrow. What are the things you do in your program to try to make sure that happens?
Teddy, I think discipline begins in recruiting. The identification of a student athlete that fits your program. In Evanston, it starts with that character evaluation, and we've got a set of questions that are married with the values of our program. And you're in our team room a lot. When I'm addressing you there, it's to my left and your right. And that's kind of a roadmap for our assistant coaches as they go out to really evaluate, prospective student athletes. If you look at our history in recruiting, we're typically a day late, a week late, a month late, and potentially offering a young person. And I know sometimes that frustrates our fans, but we're going to make sure when we offer a young man, that's someone we truly want to become a part of our football family. And that character evaluation takes a little bit longer, and we're going to try to use every means necessary, the coach, the AD, the principal, the guidance counselor, whatever champion in that young person's life that we can find and discover that's going to answer the tough questions to give us the right answers to make sure that young person's the right fit. I'm also respectful of the other programs in the country that everyone's a little bit unique and different in how they go about that, but that is a very serious discussion that we have. We're very proud of the job that our young men do, that they do obviously in our community, giving back and being a part of our community in a very positive way on the Northwestern campus, in the greater Evanston and Chicagoland community, and being a role model for student athletes across the country. But again, I think that goes back to the identification and recruiting.
Next question is down front here.
Pat, how different is it now teaching your guys to deal with expectations and not just happy to be in the dance?
Well, we're not satisfied with just going to bowl games anymore. That's not acceptable. That's the expectation. And to be a consistent winner, to be a consistent postseason, postseason team and playing in bowl games is the expectation. Now, obviously, we raised the bar a year ago from winning a game and getting that monkey off our back. But at the end of the day, the expectation is to win championships. And when you walk into our team room, on the right side, it would be your left, would say to win the Legends Division and win the Big Ten. We want to put that trophy in our case, just like the other 11 institutions and head coaches that are going to visit after me. So it's not unique to us. It's not any different than anyone else in our league, but we've never shied away from stating that as our goals. Now maybe just a few more people are listening and saying, well, maybe they might be able to externally. But I think as everyone does in the country, our focus is inward. How we prepare, the way we go about our business, the process that we go about developing our young men and developing our team, those expectations far outweigh any external expectations that we're going to see. So I'm happy to see that everyone's taking notice that we're doing okay, that we're progressing, that we're building, in my opinion, a program that our fans, our alumni, and our students, and everyone that's associated with Northwestern football can be proud of. But we're far from where we're going to be. And to me, that's the driving force in our program, is to take the necessary steps to be competitive for a championship, and hopefully we'll do that as we move forward in training camp.
We have time for a couple more questions. Got one in the back here.
Hi, Coach. They're making an emphasis on the targeting rule this year with the ejections being led. I mean, as a former all-conference defender, I mean, how difficult is it going to be for these guys to be able to change the culture of the hits? And I mean, your thoughts on how you're going to be able to coach these guys up, and what do you expect to see moving forward?
We're looking forward to working with Bill Carollo and the Big Ten officials as they come through our training camps, especially at Northwestern, to look at the teach tape that I know Bill will have for us as far as educating what hits from a year ago or maybe the previous few seasons that would be, labeled targeting from a standpoint of what would be an ejectable offense as we move forward. I like the fact that that's a play that's coming into our game to make sure that we have the number one most important thing handled, and that's the health, safety, and well-being of the student athletes as they play the game of football. It's well documented that I'm a rather large hockey fan, and the way to see the rules have changed in the game of hockey to where it's more of an athletic game, and guys aren't getting pressed up and boarded. It's the same thing in football. If you're defenseless, you should be protected. But there'll be some hits that I'm looking forward to learning from and seeing exactly how that's going to be officiated. But there's no question the health, safety, and well-being of the student athletes is the number one priority.
Got one down in front here.
I guess just kind of talk about how the game has evolved in the past few years as far as player safety, and do you think there's enough being done to protect the athletes?
I definitely believe that the coaches, the administrators, the conference commissioners, the NCAA, and obviously our student athletes and our medical teams, there's great dialogue about how can we continue to improve our game from a health and safety standpoint. And I think everyone that's a shareholder in that experience, it's critically important that we have great dialogue, we have great discussions, and we come up with positive solutions to keep our young men safe. And that's not only on game day, it's 365 days a year. If it's nutrition, sleep, the way that we practice, the way that we play, those are all positives. I kind of feel like that one commercial back in my day, we wore neck rolls, and the game was played from the breadth of this table. And, there were certain days of the week that I couldn't practice because of the physical pounding that you went through, not only in the game day on Saturday, but the way that you had to practice to prepare. So I think we're trending in a very positive direction. Are we at the destination? I'm not sure we ever will be. I think that will be an ongoing progression of making the kids and the game safer and safer. And I think we're in a positive place. But as I said, I think we're going to continue to move forward to get to a great place for our student athletes.
Time for one more. We'll go right here.
You obviously have several games before you start Big Ten play, but with where your program is right now, for a primetime game, for homecoming like you have coming up against Ohio State, just that type of game, what do you hope and expect your stadium will be like from an atmosphere standpoint, and what a game like that is like for your program at this point?
Well, the pageantry of Big Ten football is special. We're a nationally based conference. Obviously the breadth of our conference is special. And then you take it down to individual games, and just the opportunity to compete and play Big Ten football is amazing. Obviously on paper, as you sit here in the end of July and you look at the conference slate, you get excited to play each and every one of your games, and especially ones that are in a prime time type atmosphere. But quite frankly, I haven't put a lot of thought into it. My focus has been, number one, making sure our guys are healthy and doing the right things academically here in summer school. And then our focus will shift once we get into camp about how our freshmen integrate and how we're going to put those pieces of the puzzle together to get prepared for the opener against Cal. But as you look forward, obviously you get excited for Big Ten play. The last time I think we played each other at night was a pretty unique environment at our place. Obviously we were successful, so that's a fond memory in my mind. The first thing that jumps back to me is Coach Walk in that experience. It was really special to be in the locker room with him, obviously a native Ohioan, and things of that nature that was neat. But our focus right now is on ourselves and getting prepared for the opener. And I think as we get a little closer to that game, obviously it'll get more exciting. But obviously the undefeated team from last year is very special to have them come and be our Big Ten opener. It's going to be a great challenge.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Doug. Great being with you this morning.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Go Cats.
And Media Day is underway. That was Pat Fitzgerald, and here's what Coach Fitz has to look forward to. His September includes a road game against a Pac-12 team. Then they've got Syracuse. You can see right here on BTN. Western Michigan after that. Only 3 10-win seasons in the history of that program. One was last year.